After months of work, today is finally the day we put the Murcielago engine back in the Murcielago and start it for the first time. Hopefully. The Murcielago has always been my all-time dream car. So when I had the chance to buy one, which was left abandoned for 7 years, I jumped at the opportunity. But this car was left abandoned for multiple reasons. Bad bodywork. What on earth? Poor repairs. It just gets better. And a V12 engine which wouldn't turn over. Literally finger tight. But with no experience with Lamborghini engines at all, my dad and myself attempted to rebuild the engine ourselves. And in the last video, we actually got it back in the car before finding out we made a huge mistake. Oh no. What? There's oil coming out of the head.
Oh no. Oh yeah. Jesus, yeah.
Oh no. Our celebrations were short-lived and the engine is back out again for the second time. So here's the thing, this is gonna get super sketchy. This is the casing which actually goes over the chains. It goes there, and then what you're supposed to do then is put the cylinder heads on each side which tighten up onto the casing, which is what we did the first time. The problem is we missed 2 oil seals out the top of the head which caused oil to leak out of the head. So what we're trying to do now is cheat away into putting this back in without having to take the cylinder heads off. You can see the space in the head gasket here where the O-rings should have gone, and here on the right hand side as well. But looking back to part 7 of the build where we lifted the heads onto the engine, you can see we clearly missed them out. Now we've been told by multiple people that this is not possible to put on without taking the heads off, which has made us want to be able to do it more. Let's see how this goes. The plan is to run some RTV sealing along the top of the heads. This can be used in high temperatures. And also it's going to help the new O-rings, which were only £8 each from Lamborghini, stick to the top of the heads whilst we hopefully slide in the casing.
This sealer says that it's good
for Murcielagos. Once the O-rings are in place, we're then running the Loctite around the engine block as it states in the manual. We've then got a few O-rings to put in the casing as we've done before, and the next challenge was to try and slide it on without damaging the head gaskets or moving the O-rings. And this thing has to slide on. Because of the pressure of each head, they're trying to push the casing down. So we need to almost push the heads up and then knock it on. This is so sketchy, but this is why we've got this massive part. Lift it up from the side. No. On the car. Woo! Yeah! We did it! It's on! Well, hopefully the seals are in place. We got the casing on, and all we had to do now is put all the studs back in place along with the nuts as well. Because we had the casing off, we bought another new seal from Lamborghini, which was £47, and that goes just over the crankshaft here. My dad then knocked that into place, and we was looking good. But we had to test this thing worked. We started to lift up the engine, and then bolt on the water pump. Right, it is all on and together. The only thing we haven't got on now is all the auxiliary stuff, like your water pump, your alternator and everything like that. But if we put all that on, then have to take it back off again, it's going to be annoying. And we can actually test whether the engine is oil tight outside the car, which is what we probably should have done before. And that's what we're about to do now, and see if everything's sealed up. Let's do it. So the Murcielago engine has a dry sump. It doesn't store all the oil for the engine in the bottom of the sump. It is actually stored in an oil tank on the side of the car. But there's a way for us to cycle oil through the engine without having to connect it up to the car. Down here is the sump, and we've connected a hose going round here and back into the sump. And there's around 3.5 litres, we believe, that cycles through the engine at a time. So we're gonna fill the engine up with 3.5 litres of oil and then turn it over. First step, fill the engine up with 3.5 litres of oil. Now, because we're doing it outside the car, we won't know whether we've got actual oil pressure because we're not connected up to anything. But if there's no oil leaks, then we know we're sort of on the right track. And now we're going to connect the battery pack up to the starter motor to turn over the engine. Now, this is super sketchy, but it makes much more sense in trying it out the car here than it does putting it back in to find out it doesn't work. So on goes the battery pack to the starter motor, then it's fingers crossed from here. Oh, there we are. Go. Keep cranking. And things were looking good. It's looking good. It seems I spoke too soon. Oh, there's oil coming out. No! Oil's coming out.
Really?
Yeah, that's coming out here. No! One side's alright. This side's absolutely peeing out. Although it looked like we'd sealed one side of the engine up, oil was still leaking out of the right hand side. So we had no choice but to go again for the second time. Right. Plan is, we're going to put a little bit thicker O-ring in there and hopefully it'll seal it better. But because it's thicker, it's going to be more difficult to get in. We think it might have just displaced on this one because the gasket is just dropping off the head a tiny bit, whereas that side it sits flush. We'll give it another go. We'll check back when we've got it all back together and we'll turn it over again. After we did it this time, we waited 24 hours for the sealant to cure.
Are you ready?
Okay, here we go. Please work this time.
This technically counts as round 3. And again, it's starting to look okay.
Looks like it.
Oh, we ain't put the oil filter on.
But this time, we missed out the oil filter.
It's on. Here we go. Come on, please. Oh, no, it's the left side now. No way. Oh.
It's not working. Third time, look here.
So here's the thing. Okay. What we learned is that we should probably take the heads off, and I'm here to help you with that.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's a good job we got Freddie because we've had enough. we've had enough.
It was looking like the inevitable was bound to happen. We were going to have to take the heads off the engine. But that was until I had a message from Sonny at BHP.
So this is shim steel. Is get your O-rings in, and you can see how thin that is, and just make sure it's got no sharp edges. And what you do is you compress the O-ring with the shim steel, and then gently slide the cover on. And what you should do is, if you rubber grease it, it should allow it to all slide in. And once you've got the cover in place, you just slide the shim steel out.
We're using this bit. We're going to push the seal up with that, and then we're going to slide it all in, and it's all going to work. Come on. If we don't get it right this time, it's going in the bin. It's going in the bin. So we're connecting it back up. Dad's on it with the battery. Oil tub there. We're going to crank it. Is this sketchy? This is legit.
Oh, this is loose.
This is loose. Come on. Oil's picking up. Come on, Kevin. It's pumping. It's making a weird noise. We're looking good to me. Yeah? Good? It's ready to go in, come on. I don't know how confident I am, but I think it's good. Let's get the ancillaries on, get this in the car. It's time to start it.
It seems it actually worked, but I really wasn't too confident. But thanks Sonny at BHP, that was a real help. That's if it works.
So we're just putting on all the ancillaries, which you guys have seen before, but we've got to the part where we're tensioning the belt, and Freddie said that you're supposed to do it by hertz.
Yeah, so hertz is just a frequency, and you're essentially supposed to like pluck this like a guitar string. And I have a sound analyzer. I don't know if this is gonna work.
Like, this sounds like rubbish, but look, it's facts. On the manual, it says the belt resonance frequency reaches 150 hertz plus or minus 5 hertz. So
Okay.
100 was it 155? 155 hertz. So we want that specific tune on that belt, please.
Okay. So that looks like 86.
It's too low.
going tighter,
We need more
so-
tight. We need more of a ding.
Yeah.
So we're going tighter to get a higher hertz because it needs to be tuned to perfection.
More.
A bit more. It's so tight. That's
I was gonna
insanely tight.
150.
150.
There we go. I'm gonna
Yeah,
call that
we
good.
call it that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep playing the song.
And then we lock it all in place. Next up was the spark plugs. All 12 of them. And Freddie was down to do the honours. And we're so close to bringing this engine back to life, which we're still unaware of how many miles it's done. The only thing we have to go off is the car vertical check that I did when I first picked up the car. The good news is that it's never been in an accident that we know of. It's not had any mileage fraud, it's not been stolen, and it doesn't have any outstanding finance. I can also see the full history of the car, even registration plate changes. But I can see on the mileage graph, the last record was of it doing 78,698 miles. So as far as we know, the engine could have gone straight after doing 76,000 miles, or it could have done another 100,000 before blowing up. We don't know. Another cool thing about Car Vertical, if you check a car out and it wasn't an accident, sometimes it will show you the photos of when it was auctioned off at the car crash auction website, just like my GT3. So to check your car, a friend's car, or a car that you're potentially about to buy, click the link in the description box below. Use code MATT for discount as well on your next Car Vertical check. Cheers, Car Vertical. Spark plugs in. Now what we're going to do, we're going to be sensible this time, because last time we did make a mistake, but we wouldn't have realised we made a mistake until we started putting everything together. Over in this box is an insane titanium exhaust, but we're not going to show you that just yet until we get it on the car. But the only part of it we need are these bits here, which are going to go. These are going to go there, but it's a good job we're going to put these on now, because we'll be struggling to get to it whilst it's in the car. A massive thanks to Carbonise UK for this exhaust, and you guys will be seeing the full thing when we finally get the engine running. But for now, it's just the pipes which connect to the manifold. Exhaust on, let's get it in for the second time. Now this was going to be a team effort, and it is super sketchy. We're lifting the V12 up in the 2-post ramp, and then we have to push the Murcielago towards the engine, and at the same time try and tilt it into place, which is why Liam is standing on top of the gearbox now. And it wasn't long before we finally got it in place.
Sammy, you are wrecking the car!
Yay!
Oh, so we're supposed to celebrate. Oh, we're supposed to celebrate.
3, 2, 1. Yay! Woo! We did it. 1, 2. 2 minutes past 1. We'll carry on in the morning.
Okay.
Sweet like a cactus, fruit on a summer's day.
The next morning, the vibes were high. Today was the day we finally get to start the Murcielago engine for the first time in 7 years. Come on! We were going to do the bare minimum to get this thing started, which meant connecting up the lines to the starter motor, the oil lines to the sump, and the fuel lines to the fuel rail. Along with that, there's a bunch of electrical connections that will need to be connected in order to start the car. Last time I filled the oil up on this, I put all the oil through the engine there, which was wrong. It takes 11 litres, but according to the manual, you're only supposed to pour 3 litres of oil inside the engine and then the other 8 in the tank there. So that's the correct way of doing it. So we're going to do that. In goes 8 litres of oil into the separate oil tank. And then 3 litres of oil into the actual engine. So I noticed the DDE guys as well wanted to crank over the engine to make sure they had oil pressure before they started, which is exactly what I'm going to do. To do so, there is 2 fuel relays here, which you can unplug at the back. That's going to stop the engine fueling, so it's just going to crank over, and hopefully we see on the dashboard that we have some sign of oil pressure. Thanks DDE guys for showing us that. Let's see if we've got any oil pressure. Now we wasn't quite sure how much oil pressure we should have just when the engine's cranking. Yeah, here we go. But any is better than none. We've not got 6 bar, but we've got some bar. I think we're good. Like, look, do you want to see it?
No. I was just looking to see if it leaked any oil out there.
Did it not leak? Nothing's leaking. No, have you looked underneath the car?
No, I ain't.
One step closer. Now to add some fresh fuel in it and get one of you guys to start it. Remember, someone who bought the Save the Manual hoodie or t-shirt will be coming down to turn the key for the first time. And Hannah found us a winner.
Hello?
Hello, is that Lee?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's Matt Armstrong calling.
Hello.
You're right. A bit of a random one, and we're hoping you can. We're wondering whether you're able to pop down and do the first turn of the key of the Murcielago.
You're joking.
No. Do you think it's possible? Congratulations, Lee. You bought a Save the Manual t-shirt. It is coming down to do the first turn of the Lamborghini Murcielago key. Let's hope it starts for him and for us. Lee mentioned that he was actually able to travel down after he finished work in the evening, which left us with around 3 hours to actually make sure this thing was going to start when he turned the key. First thing we checked was a spark, and from the looks of it, it seems we had a spark at the spark plugs. I then checked the fuel, which seemed to be pumping, but when we turned over the car, it didn't even attempt to fire. So we got no spark. No, we have got a spark, but at the wrong time, maybe. Or no fuel. The injectors are going in. There's a possibility we could have flooded the engine, so we took out a spark plug to check.
Oh yeah, that sparked, and it nearly went.
Why did it nearly go then? Think it would flooded it a bit?
I think, yeah, when we tried to get when we ran the fuel round.
To round the fuel, flooded it a bit. Yeah, should we take all the plugs out and turn it?
Yeah.
Ah, so when I was turning it to get the oil pressure, no, but I disconnected the fuel. Just as a precaution, we took all the spark plugs out and cleaned all the old fuel off them, just in case we did flood the cylinders. Let's get them on and get ready for Lee. We've got half an hour, so hopefully get this thing ready for Lee to start and do the first, basically the first start, really. After cleaning the spark plugs, checking the fuel, we put everything back together. Apart from this time, we took the rear wheel off so we could put the battery pack directly to the battery for extra power. What do you think?
It's gonna go in there.
It's trying, isn't it?
It's gonna go.
Should we just leave it for Lee? Should we leave it for Lee now? You think that'll go if it keeps going?
I think it'll go.
The only thing, the throttle bodies ain't working. You're only putting your foot on the throttle, it's not doing anything.
I don't think they'll work like that. I think it's got to run
And then
to be able to get so that you can open the throttle.
Okay. We're waiting for Lee now. He'll be here in 10 minutes. So this is it. Months of work. And we're about to find out whether we did this thing right. Because if we didn't, we'd find out now. So this is Lee and Fred, Jeff, and Sarah, and they've come to do the first turn of the key of the Murcielago. I hope it starts. I hope it starts. So, right, we're just gonna go straight at it. Do you want to? It's gonna be loud, I think, because we just. the exhaust is just coming straight out. Keep it running if it runs. We're not sure if the throttle bodies are going to work or not, but just if it runs, just let it run, and then we'll shout you if you turn it off. Ready? So you have to press the immobiliser first,
Yep.
and then turn the thing. I don't know whether you're going to have to give it any throttle or what, but here we go.
Let me get in first.
Yeah, can you get in?
Do you think it's going to start?
I'm not sure. And then press the button on the immobiliser. Okay. Okay, we've got something. Keep it cranked. Go on. Yeah, too slow. Alright.
We'll wait for the charge.
We'll wait for the charge. It's going, it's nearly there. It's sparking. It's shooting flames out. I know that's a good thing. I think we're gonna do it this go. If not, we've got to take all the plugs out again and it's flooded it. Okay, keep it cranked. You might have to immobilise it again. Press the immobiliser button. Let's do it. Whoa! Yes! Did you turn it off? Or did it just cut out? Oh, okay, well, it started. It started at least. Well, thanks, Lee. Did it just come off and switch itself off then, did it? Did it just...
As it was dying down,
Yeah.
I pressed the accelerator again, and it was just dying down, and it just died.
Yeah. Okay.
Lee didn't want to be responsible for blowing up the car, so the next attempt was done by me.
Ready? Go on. Yes! Well, that's as far as that started. Have you got to rebuild it again? Well, thanks so much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. There's a cable in it. It's health and safety.
Like a drug that I just can't deny.